Hi, I'm Stephen Feinberg, Executive Director of the Rhode Island Film and Television Office. Our guest tonight is a Warwick native. She's a phenomenal casting director, and she's a friend. I want to welcome Ann Mulhull to Double Feature.
Hi, Stephen.
How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
So, Ann, you started your company, LDI Casting, in 2001, right?
Yes. Started in 2001, and I was doing. My friend was working for NBC. It was the very first job that we had. He called and said, "Hey, we need something," and I said, "Oh, hey, I think I'm going to do this," and then I panicked. But then we did it. It was great, and the rest is history.
and LDI stands for?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Yes, let's make it happen.
So let's make it happen. So in 2001, you're doing, one of the first films you did was a movie called Passionata.
Yes.
And that was with Jason Isaacs.
Yes.
Who coincidentally ended up starring in the Showtime Brotherhood series that we brought in 2004.
Correct.
So how was that, that transition?
Yeah, well, we do a lot of things in between those 3 years. You stumble, and I figured stuff out. I'm sure as I look back, I think, why would I, continue doing this? But then in 2004, when Brotherhood came in, you kind of go, oh, that was my education, those 3 years, my education to really hit the ground running.
And isn't that important? I mean, you really were working on these smaller productions, these independent productions, and, the series Brotherhood was the first time we had a series film entirely in Rhode Island. That went for 3 seasons. And there was that next bar, really going to the major leagues, and now you were ready.
Exactly. I think before that, I probably said, well, I wish I could do more, or but I think it would have blown up in my face, and I probably wouldn't have gotten as far as we have.
And how did it evolve? Your relationship with the series evolved from, let's say, the pilot, when Philip Noyce directed the pilot, to, all the way to season 3. How did your relationship evolve?
Well, in the pilot and even the first season, I was doing mostly extras casting, and that includes hiring the stand-ins, and so you get to know some of the actors and how it works and how the whole thing comes together. And then in seasons 2 and 3, they offered me the principal casting as well as the extras casting. Yeah, so that was fantastic.
Yeah.
It was my favorite project, and I think they value what you do, they understand what you're doing, and they don't cut corners in that way that they think that, oh, I'll just get my friends or get some people that I know to do it. They kind of say, this is your expertise, and go do it.
And did you also get a better sense of the acting landscape in Rhode Island because of the series?
Well, yeah, they have they had a different director for every episode, so they were approximately 8 to 12 episodes per season. So you get to see a lot of new directors. And you get to figure out what was regular and what was their own style. And so that regular part was the way that I was able to take it back to the actors and say, here's how it works, and here's how to prep them, and to really make sure that the local actors at every level was ready to do the same thing I was, which is hit the ground running when that happened.
Yeah. Well, let's kind of talk about what a casting director does, because that's really important. You get the script.
Yes.
And you break down the characters. Do you discuss with the directors in advance, or the producers or the writers in advance, or is it something that you just say, this is how I perceive the character?
If I read the script, I make my own. I think that's what we can do, is as a creative, we bring our own style to it. And then yes, if we do have an opportunity to meet with the director, each role is discussed. The range of how far we can look, what if it's male, female, or how old, and then we go find them. Yeah. And then sometimes I will say to a director, I know this isn't exactly what you were looking for, but I'd like you to see this actor because they're pretty good. And sometimes it works, and sometimes they go, loved him, but not for this. Keep him in mind for something else. Right. So it's kind of a little bit of both. I try to do, you're serving the project and the director, so you find the right stuff. And
so will you keep your range of actors? Are they Rhode Island, New England, or elsewhere?
It's based on the project's needs. So because of, without going into a lot of union detail and stuff, or budget detail, sometimes they can't bring people outside. The reason that I think we were invented, the local casting director is invented, is because to find local actors. And so we find the local people. But if they say, hey, can you check New York, or hey, can you check, or do you know? Yes, but that now they have to make arrangements for them to fly or get,
Yeah.
and that's on them.
Yeah.
But we can find anybody, you know, if we had to. We can certainly social media and all that great stuff has allowed us to have a bigger outreach.
What's the most fun part of your job?
I don't know. There's a few different things that I like. I go to see a lot of local shows, a lot of plays.
Yeah.
So I like seeing new talent. And then I save all of my programs. I make little notes after I see the play of somebody that I think we should, you know, consider for something, or what I liked about them. And then when something comes up, I'll be able to go, wait a minute, I saw a guy one time at that, and then you go through the files, and then it clicks. And then so matchmaking is my favorite thing, when you kind of go, oh, this is the greatest. Ideally, if I have a director going, I don't know who to pick out of those 10 guys, and I go, yes, because
Right.
any one of them are great, you know, yeah, that would be great.
And any advice for any of actors who are interested in this field, and how to best deal with a casting director and or a filmmaker?
They should stay on their game, and whatever that is. If they want to take classes, if they want to just continue doing plays, they shouldn't sit at home. I have this thing that I always, you know, tell student actors, or, you know, people say, well, I have a degree from such and such a school. It would be like saying, well, I went to the gym when I was in college, so I don't have to go anymore.
Right.
You know, you kind of have to stay on it, because what we have in New England, you know, in Rhode Island film, could be anything, and they could be calling you every day, or they could be calling you, you know, once a year. But regardless, either way, you kind of have to be on it if you want to get the jobs. And so to sit back and to not stay active and to not stay creative and to keep your creative muscle working,
Yeah.
that would be stupid.
And you've worked on so many projects in Rhode Island. Do you have a favorite moment that you say, oh my God, I'm working on this movie? Anything that inspired you?
Well, there was a time they were working on Evening, which
Yeah.
was shooting in Newport, and I was able to get to set. And I don't always get to set once the movie starts, but we were able to go, and we were watching. I was outside and watching the video of what was going on right inside a house, and it was Meryl Streep and Vanessa Redgrave, and they were doing a scene, and I'm watching the movie. Watching the scene, and I can see the director talking to them, and I see the director step away, so I know it's a movie. I get it. But I'm still watching the film, and all of a sudden I can feel a tear coming down my face, because I was so overwhelmed with their acting and their ability to kind of go, got it, to the director, and then do it. It was amazing. It was underplayed. It seemed like they had been friends forever, which of course was the characters. And that was something that made me say, I'm going to find that actor who does that. I'm going to, you know, and it's just been stuck in me. It was stuck in my head.
And that really, those are two of some of the best actors ever in the history of film, showcasing
Right there.
their craft.
Right
How
there in
cool is
Tiverton.
that? Yeah.
I know. It was amazing. It wasn't another world. It was this world, and I was in it, and it was fantastic.
Yeah, I think that was one of the best moments of that movie. And I want to thank you so much for, all you do for the state of Rhode Island, and you also do a lot of wonderful things for Alzheimer's and all of your charity work.
Thank you.
And I want to thank you for all you do on behalf of the actors and the talent of Rhode Island. You're a real treasure, and you are a wonderful guest and
Thank you.
great friend.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me to be here.